Welcome to the Nick and Matt Show. Bringing the player interviews you want to hear and the hot topics you want to discuss. Streaming live on the Foundation Podcast YouTube channel, here's Nick and Matt.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are on episode number 37. Matt and I hope you are all having a wonderful week. We just want to give a shout out to everyone tuning in for the show tonight, audio listeners and all that. Also, shout out to the Foundation Podcast Network. And I also want to give a shout out to our other show, The Grip Locked with Hunter and Trevor. They do a lot of different topics. They talk about the tournaments going on throughout the week. So anyways, all good things happening right now. Matt, how's your week going?
Yeah, my week's going great. What do you think about this other show we go up with, Grip Locked? I've listened to them regularly, and I've noticed that they, glean content that we bring in our interviews, which for those listening right now, you're going to have to check that out on Thursday, because if they find, now no pressure to Hunter and Trevor, they're listening now, they're like, dang it, you don't have to take things from our show. But I will say this, it's very cool, especially the fact that like we do the intro and then I go listen to their show to hear a other perspective on maybe the take that the interview brought. And it's just really cool to expand on these interviews that way. They are not an interview show, but they're a hot take show, and they take some of the quotes and they run with them. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool hearing people say like, oh yeah, I heard that on the Nick and Matt show, and Hunter and Trevor definitely do that a lot. It's funny, I was actually here at Foundation's warehouse this morning, and we were just talking about the show, talking about future goals of it and everything like that. So it's really fun. It's been going very well. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to literally jump right into it right now. Texas State, not Texas States like I like to do. Texas State Disc Golf Championship National Tour, the first one of 2021 and the first one since, what was it last year?
2019.
Oh my.
There wasn't even one last year.
Yeah, it's been so long. So this is incredible, Nick. I don't know how much you enjoyed it, but there was so much parody again. I don't know if we're ever going to see the same tournaments of old. Like, yeah, I'll list it out and then you tell me what you think about it. Round 2, because round 1 is just a feature card, obviously. But round 2, we saw Coling, Casey White, Chris Dickerson, and Joel Freeman. Now, most of those names you know, but Joel Freeman you don't see too often up there, and Casey White. And honestly, who would have picked Jeremy Coling to come out with a hot round?
I know, it's funny. I'd actually, on the Nick and Matt Show's Twitter, I had asked people, say, hey, who do you think's going to win the event? Who do you think's going to make a big showing and everything like that? I saw a lot of Rickies. I saw a couple of Jeremys, but I didn't see any Joels. I didn't see any Caseys. And so after the first round, it's been like this all year, where you really can't tell who's going to make the the second round lead card. And this tournament was no different. Jeremy, obviously a longtime player. Joel took last year off. If you don't know who Joel is, he took last year off, but he's an Innova sponsored guy. I think he's on Team Champion. Great player. Obviously, everyone knows Chris Dickerson.
Yeah, but
United
here's
States
the point.
Disc Golf champion.
We haven't seen Jeremy Coling or Chris Dickerson or Joel in a long time. So this year, that's the first. Ricky, this is round 3, final round. So Ricky, okay, to be expected, but the parity comes with, again, Casey White. We'll talk about that a little bit. Chris Dickerson, and then Matt Aurum. This is not the tournaments of even last year, or, I mean, if we go back further, of course, not the years before, with it always being Paul, Ricky, maybe Eagle, maybe Simon, maybe Sexton, maybe
Conrad.
Whoever.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You pick all the names, Calvin, like, it's like, that's what we were used to. It was always those like Fantastic Four. And
yeah, it's weird.
It's been different this year.
I come to think of it right now, and I don't think after rounds 2 and round 3, there wasn't a Discraft sponsored player on the lead card, which usually there's, one of them per tournament. So it's kind of weird seeing that go down. But
there's a lot of parity.
Trying to choose players this year for who's going to win the tournament, yada yada yada. It's impossible right now.
It's crazy, but let's get right to it after talking about the parity, which has just been epic this year. Like you said, impossible to guess, but Ricky does take it down. I didn't say spoiler. I'll say it after I say who won. I'd be like, wait, that's not how it works.
Exactly.
But you know what I noticed in relation to that? We finished our show out with that last week, was like spoilers and all that. The PDGA kudos for them announcing immediately when the winners win. That is their tournament. They immediately announced it.
Yeah.
Innova immediately announced it. I felt like there was hope for the world of disc golf when I saw, like, finally, it's like you see people coming in the comments to be like, who's here to say spoiler? Like, we're not going to let you.
Yeah.
Like, this is live sports.
Yeah, so I checked the comments just to see if there were people mad about the spoilers that just happened. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, so Ricky takes it down. Now, this is back-to-back events for him. That's the first that I'm recalling in my head this year for back-to-back winners. For any event, unless there's some small event in there I'm missing, but like in general, Ricky back-to-back averaged 1,071. And this is, I'm going to say, over the course of 6 rounds. That's between Belton and now Texas State. That's pretty incredible. Averaging 1,071 over 6 rounds. That's no joke. Can I go on record right now, Nick, and say that we totally, and I'll say I was the one who started it, but we totally messed up. Last week, we called out Ricky as the highest rated disc golfer. Now, we wanted to build him up because he was a guest on our show. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly.
But I went on our comments on YouTube. A lot of people saw it. A lot of people liked it. I really want you guys to know, one, totally messed up. It just slipped our brain, as in, like, we're in mid-show and we remembered an announcement with that. We obviously knew Eagle was the highest rated.
Yeah.
But once we started saying it, just stuck with us. Ricky never corrected us because maybe...
Yeah, I was going to say, Ricky never even corrected it. So here he is. He's standing up on this high mountain going on right now. But yeah, he never even told us different. So
but
no,
we'll do better.
Judgment. And I think we were like, 90% through the show? And we were just like, holy crap. Wait, he's not the highest rated player, though.
So back to his performance.
If he keeps on pace that he's going to be.
Yeah,
so.
Back to what did he shoot for his final round?
He shot, he shot 8 down on the back 9. He finished 11 down overall in the final round, which tied the course record previously set by Kevin Jones the round prior. So definitely it's hard to beat when you got a player shooting course records here and there. And so when that happens, what can you do? I think that's twice now over the last 2 tournaments that in the last round, Ricky tied the course record. I think he shot 16 down the final round at Belton, which is wild. And then that's with missing like a 20-foot putt over at Belton. So just something to be said. And then tying the course record last round. It's funny. I was watching the coverage live, and over the first 9 holes, I was like, man, Ricky, he's doing all right. The first 2 holes, he went birdie, and then he kind of like slowed down a little bit. I think he had a random bogey in there, and you're kind of like, okay. And then the back 9, he just shredded it. So there was no stopping him. No one was catching up.
Is Saki Bomb back?
Saki Bomb might be back. I think Saki Bomb is back.
I think it deserves at least a 30-second discussion here. If we see Ricky get back to his tip-top form before, obviously, the tick and the Lyme disease and all that, and let's just say Paul does not come back to his, 2015 or whatever his Grand Slam year was, that Ricky will be a dominating force this year. It's very possible. At this point, with back-to-back wins, averaging 1,071 over the course of all of those rounds, I'm not predicting anything, but we're seeing something we haven't seen yet this year.
Yeah. What's funny?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say what's funny about that is, Ricky in 2016, 2017 was easily the best putter in the world, and now that Ricky, he's slowly, I think he was 100% over like 35 putts from Circle 1X over the weekend. And then Circle 2, he had an absurd percentage as well. That was just like insanely good. And so when Ricky is putting those putts together, anything within 33 feet, you can almost count it. Anything within 45 feet, he was draining left and right. And he had a big momentum birdie that from like 45, 50 feet that we're used to seeing that old Ricky hit. Well, and I do think that he's getting used to those KC Pro AVRs, whatever he's putting with. And it's hard to beat him when he's putting that well.
I got to get off that rivalry talk from last week, but wasn't it Paul who's quoted as saying like, hey, if Ricky's got like a lead or something at Worlds, you can count him out or something, like he's going to choke.
Yeah, years and years ago, yeah.
So anyways, that's a good rivalry, but let's talk about this. Let's move on. We're getting ready for our guest to come on later here. Who is Matt Aurum? Now, if you've been in the sport for a long time, you probably have heard the name enough times to know. But if you're newer to the sport, I would say even in the last few years, that's just kind of my perspective. He hasn't been this big name that everyone sees regularly week in and week out. So we thought it would be worth kind of giving you some information on him. First of all, he's out of Alabama. He's been playing the PDGA sanctioned events for 22 years. That is quite a while, Nick. I've been playing disc golf for 14.
Yeah. So this was cool. The Disc Golf Network did this during the live coverage. They were talking about who Matt Aurum, and they had played this old footage of the final 9, and I think from 2005 when Nate Doss had won his first world 2005 when Nate Doss won his first world championship, and Matt Aurum was on the final 4 going into that last, the final 9, excuse me. So he was on the final 9 card. So he's been in the game for a long time. Definitely a great player. He took second at this last week's tournament, averaging 1053, 19 points above his player rating. And this is actually, I think, his second or third year getting second place at the tournament that is held at the Dogwood course. So I think back in 2019, it was like the Piney Woods Classic, and I think he got third place. And so he obviously does well at this course, obviously plays well in the woods. He's an Alabama guy. I'm not really sure how their courses are, but more than likely, seems like he plays in the woods well.
Yeah, 19 points above his player rating. Again, this is just based on averages. That's all we're trying to do, is just to give you, if you don't know him, you'll kind of know where he's at playing for his skill level. So he averaged 1,053, which is pretty well. His career earnings, I thought this number was quite a bit higher than I expected, man. But I guess after 22 years, and if you're a good player, $177,498. Now, that's not that much money when you spread it out over 22 years, but as far as earning it for disc golf, when disc golf wasn't a big money earner until realistically the last maybe 5 or 6 years was even a chance for you to start making money. That's pretty incredible. 276 events that he's played, PDGA, I want to be clear, and 63 wins. Now, he does play in a lot of events. This was based off of Disc Golf Network stats that they found. I kind of took that from them, where he plays a lot of events down in what you would call kind of their club, but bigger than their club. It's a regional sanctioning, kind of like we have up in New England, Nick, NIFA, New England Flying Disc Association. They have their own down there. So he does a lot of that is not PDGA sanctioned. So, hey, Nick, are we allowed to say that there's a high likelihood that we have him on the show next week?
Spoiler alert. Actually, about 5 minutes before the show started, I had sent a message out to Matt. We wanted to get him on for this week's show, but he has some traveling stuff going on right now. And so he did message me back just a couple minutes ago saying that next week he would love to be on the show. So we're going to try to lock that in throughout the week and get him. So just keep him in mind, and we'll definitely have him on the show.
Yeah, so that's cool. So, okay, Nick, on our show, I'm hoping this doesn't really actually work, but whatever we talk about as players not doing well, for some reason, they step up to the bar. It's like they listen to our show. And it fires them up. I've heard that works for Paul Macbeth.
That's what we're hoping.
So Kevin Jones, what did I say? I kind of went on a little rant. I was like, I don't know what he's doing. Does he think he's better than he is? And all these questions.
Well, he was one of the players. Yeah, he was one of the players this year who we haven't heard much about. So to finally see him crawl back up the leaderboard, shooting 18 under par for the whole tournament, 1039, which was only 2 points above his player rating. But the second round, he did set the course record that second round at 11 under par. So
I heard
ended
his
up in
name.
a tied for 5th place.
I heard his name and I was laughing because I'm I just went on this rant about where is he? What is he doing? And he ended up tying for 5th place. Now,
and he had a really slow front 9 the last round. And you can actually, I'm pretty sure there's post round coverage of it from Gatekeeper, GK Pro, whoever does the chase card. I forget who it is, but they have post round coverage of the chase card. And he's on it, but you can see he did start off the round slow. I think in the second 9, he put together 4 or 5 birdies in a row to kind of help him out a little bit. But back up there in 5th place where we expect to see him.
Yeah, well, exactly. That was my point the other week. It's not that he's a bad player, but he's not where we're expecting him to be. Fully expect that I fully expect that I would have seen him regularly top 10. But that was not the case. So to come out, shoot a hot second round, actually get his name out there, to start seeing him press up, especially to take the hot round to see his name up there, and then to finish out in 5th place, at least there is a heartbeat there. All right, let's go into where did Paul end up placing? Now, if you're looking at the show notes, you reviewed them. I sent them to you about 5 minutes ago. No kidding. And I've said this before. when Paul is not in first place, and I don't think I'm exaggerating, when he's not in first place, you think something is wrong, or as one of my sons says, he's not playing good. And that's just like, that is what he has done to himself. He's performed at such a high level that if he's like, and I think disc golf, and I'll let you comment on this, is at a place right now where if you are in top 10, I think you are now performing at a high level. That didn't used to be the case. Even top 20 is questionable now. Like, as in, like, if you're placing top 20, I think that's totally respectable now. Like, very.
Yeah.
The parity and the competition is really increasing. So, what do you think about Paul's performance?
Well, I was going to say the caliber of the competition definitely has upped this year and last year, even just with all the different names creeping into the sport. But, I mean, technically, you would say Paul played below average. He was 2 points below his rating at the moment. And so when you kind of see that going on, you think, what's going on with this, what's going on with that. But I think he's still getting into the groove of things. There's plenty of tournaments left for the year. I don't think there's anything significantly wrong. I just think that, a lot of players are playing really well right now.
Oh, I'm going to pick on what you said there. Significantly wrong. So what is insignificantly wrong?
Exactly.
I'm trying to read into.
Maybe his pinky toe hurts or something like that. I don't know.
All right. He's on the road. You're still living in Virginia, so you don't have that inside scoop as much anymore. So, okay, let's move on. Casey White, we're giving him a shout out mainly because, well, I don't want to say mainly because of his performance. That's the main reason. But secondly, he is from locally where you and I grew up, like 20 minutes away, 30 minutes away.
Yeah,
and we've watched him grow into this sport. So to see him make the lead card made New England up here literally like roar. We were so happy. Social media was buzzing. Incredible for him, Nick. Would you do a few comments on what you thought about how he came out of the gate and honestly his overall performance? What are your thoughts there?
It's honestly pretty crazy because he had obviously an incredible showing at Belton, and that's where his name on the live coverage really did come out a lot, and people really started hearing the name Casey White. And obviously a lot of people know who Casey is, but then you think, okay, he played great at a Silver Series event. It seemed like the course kind of fit his game. He's a great putter. He's got a solid forehand, solid backhand. Let's see how he does in these tight wooded courses. But the thing is that in New England, 98% of the courses that we play are tight wooded courses where you have what looks like these finicky lines. And so Casey really did come out and prove that he does know how to play that woods golf. He, played great under the pressure. The last round, not so much, but at the same time, look, he played above his rating. He was on Jomez 2 rounds. He shot the hot round the first day. I mean, he had all these different things going for him at the same time, also going against him. And he was able to step up to the plate. So yeah, definitely huge shout out to Casey.
I have to be honest, it's so crazy. I don't want to say I'm speechless to see a player that we watched grow up into disc golf be on the lead card for a final round of an NT. When he threw his first drive of round 3 and literally outdrove every single pro disc golfer that weekend on that hole and parked it. I was like, I fist pumped, I clapped. My son's like, oh yeah, baby. Like I hope he knows he made New England super proud. And we had him on 2 weeks ago and we said, we expect to see you out there more. Yeah. Last week.
Yeah.
We were like, we expect to see you up there more. And he's like, oh yeah,
exactly.
And then he did it. Mind blowing. All right. Finally wrapping up our little review here. Jeremy Colling, you want to just talk? It's literally just to say we have not seen him on a lead card in a long time. And
exactly. It's good to see him back up there. Good to see him playing, well. Obviously, he wants to be a great player, and he was able to play pretty well this weekend. I don't have all the stats on it, but it was good to see him back up on that leaderboard. And he had a really funny thing on Jomez where he took a putt and he hit the tree or something like that. He just looked at the camera and he's like, "Can I try again?" And it was just funny. He's a comical guy.
Yeah. So go ahead and fill us in here. What are your thoughts on Eagle McMahon? Because we haven't seen him for a little while either. And what happened here at this event?
So highest rated player in the world at the moment, Eagle McMahon is the highest rated player. We are sure of that at this point. I think it's 1056. And excuse me, he averaged 1036 over the tournament. The last 2 courses were both significantly wooded. So Belton and Texas State's. So kind of obviously below his average, below what I would say he's, used to playing and everything like that. He's probably pretty disappointed in himself, but with the way Eagles been playing throughout the year, I guess, next big tournament is happening at Jonesboro. It's an open course. It's somewhere where you probably will see those players like, Paul, Ricky, Eagle. They'll go back out and shine.
Yeah, I think it's been interesting to watch him play through the woods. And I know that when we had him on for an interview, I think it was last year, we actually brought that up, and he did allude to the idea that he didn't say that he plays poor in the woods. He said he's going to be a champion, show people that he can play in the woods. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's the woods game that is his issue right now. He's been alluding to, and I don't want to say excuses, but like some issue with his back, and thanks for letting me haul the cart, he's telling people and all that. So
exactly. I definitely don't, it's not a woods issue, because at the same time, if he's got injuries going on, that obviously plays a huge fact of it. But in 2020, he won Idlewild, which is one of the most freakishly wooded courses out on the tour. So it's not a huge problem in the woods, but yeah, if you look back at his track record, a lot of the courses and tournaments that he has played, especially in New England, I would say he doesn't have a great track record up here in New England. But I don't know. Yeah, I think he'll get over that. I think he's got some injury stuff going on right now that's definitely holding him back.
Yeah, after seeing what he did at LVC, I don't think I would have predicted what's happened since then. But
yeah, exactly. But look, what can happen in 3 weeks? What can happen in 2 weeks? Stuff like
that.
The
parody has been crazy. I can't say it enough. All right. But without further ado, we have our first guest of the night, named Alexis. You may know her as one of the quote unquote sisters. We're going to talk about that a little bit. But my son goes, which one of the Mandujano sisters is this? Which one? And I was like, it's Alexis. So we have Alexis joining us tonight. So let's go ahead and introduce her to the show. Alexis, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Where are you calling us
Sorry,
from?
Sorry, just trying to fix this.
That's okay. Our audio guests right now are like, fix what? Well, her camera. She has her phone out.
Yeah, and it's like...
That's okay. You're okay. She's can hear you.
She's trying to center herself. You're totally fine.
So
yeah, it's like...
That's fine if you want to leave it like that. That's cool.
Okay.
All right. So where are you calling us from? Yeah.
I am back home.
Okay. And home for you guys is Texas, correct?
Yes. San Antonio.
Awesome. So let's get right into it, Nick. Alexis, we watched you take 4th place this week at Texas State's. You shot 1 under par, which was only 6 strokes off the lead at a national tour. You averaged 950, which is about 25 points above your rating. So that's pretty good for you. To help everybody get a better understanding of like how you view your disc golf skills and how you perform this week. We've done this with some guests in the past. Scale 1 to 10, with 1 being very, very poor and 10 being probably the best you think you could ever shoot. How do you feel like your performance was this weekend?
I would say it was a 7. Okay. I would say I never put together a good round. It was a few holes that were good, a few holes that were really bad, that I took 5 on holes that I knew I could birdie. I feel like for us ladies, there was a lot of par 4s that we all knew we could birdie, and they were such gettable. And especially the final round, I took some dumb bogeys that's where I knew I needed to push, and I didn't. That's where I kind of just messed up and kind of felt like, oh, shoot, this is that back 9 where you need to push, and it was just kind of a bland back 9 for me.
Yeah. So do you feel like were you playing a little bit more aggressive on the back 9, which caused some little errors here and there, or were you a little too safe on the back 9, thinking I should be able to get these birdies no matter what?
Yeah, I think more or less it was the waiting. I feel like once we got to hole 7, it was kind of more like a 10, 15-minute wait every hole. From there, I kind of just got, from there, it just kind of got cold. I tried to move around, trying to just do something, be on my phone, trying to look at the scores, okay, kind of keep me pumped. But then I checked on hole 12 the score. I was tied for 5th, and I was like, okay, well, there's like 6 holes out of like 7 I can birdie out from here. And from there, I think it kind of just messed myself up, and I just got pars from there. I was trying to be aggressive, ended up just taking pars. So
gotcha. Yeah, I think that's kind of a tough mentality when you think, okay, these are holes that I need to get, these are holes that I should get every single time, and you put a little extra added pressure on yourself. But so you're new to touring this year. in the professional era, you've played professional events, you've been playing professional for a little while now, but this is your first year. You and your sister are out on the road. So is this your first national tour that you've ever played in?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. And then what were some of your thoughts as a weekend? There was obviously tons of cameras at this event. You've played a couple pro tours now, so you're a little bit used to that, but cameras, banners, and the world's best competitors in the FBO division, pretty much everyone was there. How does that compare? Like, does that help you perform better? Does it inspire you?
I feel like it's a good motivation for me. I love when we go to practice and we see all the big players out there, all the big names.
Mhm.
It gives me a good motivation. It's a good feeling to me to be like, okay, this is the year we're finally we're playing these big events. And I feel like when it comes to these days when pressure hits or when the camera's out, I feel good. Like I didn't feel nervous at all.
Yeah.
I felt calm. I felt like I had a good card, especially last round, just kind of like really chill round. And
Nice.
I felt good, but just never hit those lines that I needed to get. You know, just never pushed it to the extra level for the last round to get into that second gear to get the win.
Got
It was just kind of like very bland.
Gotcha. So obviously you played incredible this weekend. What do you think, like, what was your best feature about your game? What do you think really helped you out?
I felt like this tournament, my driving has finally came together. I've been working on trying to get distance, but I know this course you don't need distance. But I kind of like switched my grips up a little bit the past 2 weeks. So doing that, I feel like it's helped my consistency in my drives. So I feel like doing that has helped a lot. And I enjoy playing wooded courses rather than big like ball golf courses because I don't have the
Abs-
distance.
Absolutely. Totally agree with
Yeah.
that. Now, you're also your team Discraft this year. Okay. This is your
Yeah.
first year with Discraft, and I'm a Discraft underground player. And so I want to know this. What was your go-to Discraft disc that was really you felt like was really helping you out this week?
I carry 2 Undertakers, and I would
Mhm.
say those 2 for sure. I would say 2 Undertakers, and I have 2 Stalkers that I use the most.
Nice.
So I would say those. And then for sidearm, I would just say a Raptor. I use a lot for flex shots.
Awesome. Now, Undertaker is one of my favorite discs. What
Yeah.
plastic? Are you like the ESP, right?
Yes.
Nice. Cool. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty cool. Can I ask you, because we had your sister on, Nick, was it 2 weeks ago? Or a week ago?
Yes.
I'm forgetting now. The
Yeah, 2 or
season's
3
already
weeks
blending.
ago. I
So
forget. Yeah, exactly.
we talked to her, and she mentioned how like people are going to get to see the differences between you guys. I'll get to that a little bit more of that in a minute. But is there in your opinion the fact that you outperformed her this weekend? And I don't know if she's nearby. She's like you can't like celebrate, but she probably celebrated with you. Let me ask: is there a fun rivalry there? And how do you feel about outperforming your sister this week?
I feel like I beat her, but I feel like I didn't beat her because I know she didn't play the way she wanted at all. And seeing the video of her play, I was like, dang, you didn't play good at all. I mean, obviously rating and score says that, but kind of seeing her play, it's like, shoot, I know the way you can play, and also knowing the way I can play. I feel like this one was a good one, but it was one of those bad ones because she was on lead card and then kind of not finishing strong the way she wanted to.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like one of those that you can take as motivation, but also for myself, I can take as something good. Like I beat her by 1, so it's still like, well, she didn't play her best, so it wasn't that good.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, but obviously you're new to Discraft. I asked you what your favorite discs were throwing throughout the weekend, but how has it been just pretty much learning a whole new bag, especially with your first year of touring? Has that brought into like some nervousness? Do you feel like you have something to prove in a sense, or has it just been more of a fun process of, hey, I get to try out all these new beautiful discs and they're the best looking discs on the market?
Yeah, that's been it for me. Exactly, just trying new discs, trying like really pretty discs, obviously. I feel like learning new discs is another excitement for me for disc golf because being injured and not playing for 2 years really, and then jumping into discraft and trying all these new frisbees out, it's like, dang, this is a whole new world. It's another spark. It's new discs to learn, my new favorites. So I think that's a really cool part to take away from. And I feel like Mason and Val helping me figure out what I'm going to throw, or even my boyfriend helping me, hey, try this, try that. It's like, it's been a crazy year and it's just the beginning.
Wow.
Nice.
So what was the decision, or not the decision? You obviously decided to tour this year. Are you touring full time? Is that the plan?
Yeah, that's the plan.
So what was the tipping point for you where you decided that this was the year to do that? What came together that helped you make that decision?
I feel like last year, finally passing my injury, I kind of like, okay, well, new year, being sponsored with Dishcraft, that's going to be a great start. New sponsor, new year, why not? Let's just do it. Finally, this is the year to do it. We had opportunities to do it, but never did it. And this year it was like, okay, well, it's a new year. Val signed another good contract. I was like, okay, let's do this. Mason too even jumped on Innova for another year, so I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, and Mason and Valerie are both able to get their Tour Series discs. And one big takeaway from this weekend is that fourth place, you took home, was it $1,000 from this tournament?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously that's a good chunk of change. What are, for the people who don't really know the touring lifestyle, you're experiencing it now firsthand, your first year doing it. What are some of the big expenses that come out from being on the road now? And I know it's only been maybe a quarter of the season so far, but what do you find is kind of like the most expensive thing?
I would say is right now is being hotels, because so I would just say hotels, because we stay there for 5 to even sometimes 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. So I would say hotels for sure, and to find healthy food. That's so hard on tour.
There's no doubt about that, especially some hotels don't really have a full kitchen. So you're kind of like, all right, I got a microwave. That's what I can do. Or you're going out to eat every single night. And so, yeah, it's definitely, I've experienced that too. I remember Waco last year, we were at a hotel and we had a mini fridge. And so pretty much every single meal you're going out to eat. And if you don't cash at the tournament, then it's like, ooh, that's a rough week. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, exactly.
We're having ramen tonight, baby. So one more question about your sister, and it's actually a question about your sister to help differentiate you for everybody. And there's no way around it. When you were both playing Innova, you're for all intents and purposes, you look similar to us, like from the outside perspective. You play disc golf at a high level. What is a difference between you that people may not know, whether it's food, the way you dress, the music genres you like? What is some differences that you can give us to help us kind of give you a persona that we didn't know?
I would say everything's similar.
Okay.
But I'm the quiet one. If we're both on the same card and people are there, Valerie's going to be the first one to talk to everybody. I'll just kind of sit back, and see what everyone's doing. Myself, I would say she's the most.
Okay, so the Skype.
So she's the more talkative one.
Skype broke up just a little bit, but to reiterate what we did capture, she's the quieter one, and Valerie's the one who's going to go out of her way to introduce herself to everybody on a card. But you're doing great on a live show. You're not coming across quiet, so you're not shy, is what you're saying. You're just not as outgoing.
Yeah, I'd rather just let her take it, because if I would say something, she's kind of like, hey, well, this and that, and then she'll kind of like cut me off, and she's like, oh, like, go ahead.
All right.
There you go.
So that's awesome. I look forward to, are you going to hit all the tour stops, Disc Golf Pro Tour and NTs this year, or what's your plan for as you get later into the season?
That's the plan, yeah, to hit all of them.
All right. So Nick, this sounds like they're coming up to MVP.
If they're coming up to MVP, we might have to do a little in-studio live session with the Mandujanos. So
block out the whole week, Nick. Block out the whole week.
Dude, I'm not even getting a practice round at this point with how much podcast booking we're doing. But so do you feel like this level of performance, obviously you said it was a 7 out of a 10. So do you feel like you're at a point now to where you'll consistently see this a little bit more? Do you think this was a great weekend where things were just being put together? And what kind of goals do you have set out for the year? Did this reach a goal of yours?
It did. I feel like the rest of the turns of the year, I was trying to shoot for top 5, in which I've obviously gotten. Then once that third round hit, I'm like, well, I can get first. But I feel like for the rest of the year would be top 5. I think if I do better than that, that would be really good. First year on tour. That's what I'm shooting for.
Nice.
I love that.
Awesome. So you were saying, let's talk about that back 9. You were pushing for birdies. You weren't getting them. What was something, do you feel, that didn't click that back 9? Was it putting? Was a little shaky? Why didn't you get the birdies that you feel like you should have gotten?
I would say on my putting for sure. I had putts maybe just outside the circle. I just was hitting like left side chains or the band or just a bit low. Just was not connecting, wasn't feeling it, which is really strange because usually my putting carries me, but not this week.
I know it's weird. Putting some weeks is phenomenal. Putting other weeks is, bad when the drives are good, and then when the drives are bad, the putting is great. I've totally felt that at tournaments where I'm like, look, if I can just put myself within 30 feet, I feel I can get the birdie. But then I'm never putting myself within 30 feet. I'm always like 40, 45, and working on those circle 2 putts is different. But yeah, so
that's because you're not Alexis.
Exactly. Totally understand it though. Kind of talking about some accolades though. I briefly went on your PDGA page looking up just random stats, but the Victoria Open back in 2018, was that your first pro win that you had that event? I know you didn't accept cash, but was that your first pro win?
Yes.
So
that was the first one.
You beat Valerie, and even better yet, you beat Des Redding at that tournament, and you beat her by like 6 or 7 strokes. So that's pretty incredible. And then in that same year, a few months later, you ended up going on to win Am Worlds that year, correct? Okay, so you're technically, how many world titles do you have? Because you have the Amateur World Championship, and then you have some Junior World Championships as well?
Yeah, I have 2 Junior Worlds and then 1 Am.
Gotcha. And then also Doubles World Championship, correct?
Yes.
Cool. So my research was pretty well. So we're technically talking to a 3-time world champion, which is pretty awesome. And then, you've had tournaments where you've been playing pro, like I said, for a few years now, and you have some pro wins under your belt. You have a lot of amateur wins under the belt, but now finally going out and touring. I guess my question is it everything you hoped and dreamed of?
Yeah. I feel like it's been good so far. It's only been like week 5, but playing week in, week out, I love it. I love going back to back and being that consistent play, like 2 days being home and then back again on the road practicing and just going at it, which I enjoy it.
I guess technically, what was it from Vegas? You had Vegas Memorial, Waco, and then Bellin, and then Texas State. So 5 weeks in a row, you guys competed week in and week out. That's pretty insane right there, just in and of itself. Do you have a little break now before going to the next event?
No, we have Lone Star Classic, which is next week. We'll leave tomorrow to practice courses.
Oh, that's that big B tier that everyone was talking about, right? I think it's also a USDGC qualifier. And then so it'd be a throw. It'd be also, is it technically then a throw pink US women's qualifier?
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Cool.
So I gotta say, I'm loving this interview, but our chat room is also complimenting it all. They are raving over the fact that you and your sister could beat Nick and me in a doubles contest. And so, Nick, I think it goes without saying, if they're down for it, when they make it up to MVP, which I know you're in Virginia now, but you'll be up here, I'm sure. We will have to get out with a camera. We'll have a fun time of it. Nick and Matt versus Alexis and Valerie. That'll be great. So if you guys are down for it, Alexis, we would love to do that. So I think we've gotten to the place where we want you to be able to plug anybody who's supporting you and give the people who are listening an opportunity to support you, maybe the ways that they can do that. So go ahead and let us know.
Sure. Of course, I like to thank my family for everything they do for me. All the people back home for all the support, my boyfriend. And I like to thank my sponsors and Discraft, Grip, and you guys can follow me on Instagram at Alexis1642.
Awesome. Well, again, congratulations on your first big tournament of the year, the National Tour, getting 4th place. We really appreciate you coming on the show tonight. It was definitely easy messaging you and you being able to say, yes, I would love that within 30 seconds. That was pretty incredible. It made my life a lot stress-free. So we really appreciate it. Everyone go follow Alexis on Instagram, give her a shout out and everything like that. And then in the future, there will probably be definitely ways to support her. So Alexis, we really appreciate you coming on the show tonight, and good luck at the Lone Star Classic this weekend.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Awesome. Cool. We'll talk to you again another time. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Peace.
See ya.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Alexis Mandujano. Nick, I don't mean to embarrass her, but she was sponsored for so long with Innova that Discraft.
Exactly. No, it's gotta, I mean, hey, first year, you're definitely not used to always saying it. And especially, I don't know how many podcasts she's been on, but now she, Discraft sponsored player now. So yeah, I don't know why, but I have to randomly thank her, because when she joined the Skype room, the quality on my Skype camera got a lot better. So for some odd reason, Alexis, thank you for that as well. We really appreciate it.
Wow.
Now, it's definitely awesome having her on the show, and it's kind of a perfect segue into our next segment before our next guest, talking about the FPO division, Matt.
Yeah. And I'm going to sound like a broken record because we talked about MPO and we said, wow, look at the parity at the top of the leaderboard. Well, FPO, I feel like I can say once again, yes, we did see, a Paige and Katrina battle at LVC, and we've seen a little bit of Paige here and that, and Katrina. But Nick, once again, remember I was calling out like, hey, where's these FPO players that we thought could do something this year? What happened to Haley and others, Heather? And then Heather Young came out and did that, right? I mean, it was just like one after another. Now this week, the lead cards looked like this: Rebecca Cox, Haley King, Holly Finley, and Jessica Weiss. Tell me a time, Nick, where we have seen a lead card that did not have Katrina Allen or Paige Pierce or Sarah Hokum. I'm going, back in the archives a little bit, where neither or all three of those, however you'd say that, were not there. And that was round 2.
I don't know the last time that was a thing, but it's shaping up just like MPO this year. I mean, players are playing well at certain areas, and certain players aren't playing well at certain areas. And so, I mean, you're getting this whole mix up throughout both divisions. And honestly, it's really fun to see. And what was cool, seeing Rebecca Cox on the second round coverage, and even a little bit here and there in the third round coverage, was her change in form. She's obviously, changed up her backhand a little bit to further better her game. And obviously so far, I mean, apparently she just started doing it and it seems to be working out so far. So that's a pretty great thing to see.
Yeah, we'll give some insight into that. Let's talk about round 3. So then we saw again.
This is where, so the show notes, hold on really quick, because you say Rebecca Cox was on the lead card of the third round.
Yeah. Sorry.
But it wasn't. It was
Good.
Haley King, Katrina Allen, Missy Gannon, and I'm blanking on the fourth player right now.
Awesome.
But it wasn't Rebecca. I have to look it up now.
Look it up. So we've been seeing a lot of parity, and here's the incredible part, Nick.
It was Valerie. It was Valerie Mandujano.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, we talked about her too much tonight. So 11 FPO players were within striking distance in the final round, and what I mean by that is within 4 strokes of first place. 11 FPO players within striking distance of first place. That is unreal to me in all of my time watching disc golf. I can't remember a time where it was this blatant that there was the final round was kind of, you can say, up in the air.
Mm-hmm. It definitely was for how wooded this course is. And, those creeks were all OB in a lot of areas. So double bogeys were pretty easy to get, it seemed like, out there. But yeah, definitely it was a battle. I mean, it was a grind all 3 rounds. And even still for both divisions, the MPO, there was players only a couple strokes back of the lead for the MPO card. And so to see this in the FPO division where, Waco, there was obviously a blowout win. Belton was close, but then Vegas was close, but it was still blowout compared to third and fourth place. To have 11 different players in the FPO division fighting for that chance, only 4 strokes back at least, that's pretty awesome. That's good disc golf to watch.
Yeah, I have to say, I found myself, and I know I've talked about this before, that it's not as exciting for me to see a runaway. I don't get pumped up. I have to sit down and watch this. But when there's 11 players and that it's not Paige Pierce at the top, I know it sounds funny, but it adds to the excitement because Paige could make a run. So it's all of these parts are in there. But Haley King takes it down. So let's talk about that. She averaged 967 rated golf. Now, does that sound super high? It does not, assuming that, Paige Pierce is a 996 rated player, is there. It doesn't sound like it's high enough maybe to perform to win, but she finished 7 under par, 3-stroke victory, which is kind of distorted a little bit just for the fact that towards the end she faltered a little bit, but going through that round, she had a significant lead. And we've been asking what's up with her. She's been saying stuff on social media either she's thinking of stuff that's happening off the course, her mindset or mental game wasn't right, a little bit of complaints about maybe an ankle injury, and then she comes out in this final round and just really takes off strong in the final round, and then she takes it down. And in her player interview, this stood out to me. She said the words "I'm here." That's what's one phrase, "I'm here," as in look. And then 2, she said, "This is the first real one." This tournament, Nick, she won the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship, but apparently, and I mean, I felt similarly, but apparently she also felt like it wasn't a quote unquote real one. So what's your takeaway with this win here for her?
I mean, I think it's an amazing thing. We've said it almost every single week. I know I've definitely said it almost every single week, is that, I expect to see Haley King at the top, honestly. She's got incredible form. She's incredibly good on the putting green. It doesn't matter if it's 50 feet out or, 10 feet out. She's just an incredible putter all around. And so I think this is just the first of many big wins for Haley's career. I think it's very easy to say that, to be honest. She's just an awesome player. And I think for her to get this win at a time where, every single great player was there. It was a 3-round legitimate national tour tournament. I know the, Disc Golf Pro Tour was obviously a tournament, but she only had to play 2 rounds to win it. I think she won it in a playoff, which is incredible. But it's good to see her come out with this big win. She said, super thanks to her family for the support. Obviously, she's got some stuff going on in the real world at the moment. So for her to kind of rise above that, it was great to see. I love seeing her name back up on the leaderboard. And she's just a fun disc golfer to watch. Like I said, anywhere in the putting green, it's fun to watch her. It just looks so effortless. I mean, I think she has the best putting stroke in the FPO division.
I don't think that's a hot take, Nick. That was too easy.
No, I don't think so.
Also, every now and then I think it's fun to bring in our chat room just a little bit. And I call out, Hannah Macbeth. She's in the chat. And Nick, she called you out. She says, if you say, and I don't know how to read it exactly, but Mandujano or something. She's like, if you say that one more time, she says,
I thought I said,
she's locking you. No.
Mandujano.
Okay, she's locking you out. That's
right?
it.
I thought I said it right.
She's locking you out.
I probably said it wrong.
You're locked out now.
Yeah, Mandujano.
All right, cool. Good luck to them while they're stuck in traffic. We're entertaining them. So cool. Let's move on. Holly Finley.
Sorry.
This is a name that you have seen. I guess maybe you don't know. She was an international model. She took disc golf and said, this is what I would like to do. I don't want to say in her spare time. She's made it her career along with, we'll have to have her on. We tried to get her on tonight along with her modeling career. Now, she has always performed at, I would say, above average FPO, or maybe average FPO is how I'm thinking of it. She's right there in that middle usually. She can perform well. She loves the woods. That's one thing I know about her. She loves the woods. She likes throwing the lighter weight plastic, a lot of 150 plastic. But she came out here. She shot well in the woods, enough to get second place. I would love to get her on for an interview to be able to just pick her brain a little bit about what it is about the woods that helps her excel. I know there are players who feel like it helps them shape lines and they don't have the extra distance, but they feel like they can throw the lines. And that's probably what it is for her. But did you take anything away from this second place victory for her? Because it was a come behind second place.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, only finishing 3 strokes off the lead. She was averaging 958, 28 points above her player rating. And so obviously consistently she was playing great this week. And it was 98% of a wooded course, which was, incredible to see, fun to watch. And from what I've heard, she's originally from Tennessee, lives in Wisconsin now. And so I've actually had the pleasure of playing a few holes with her during practice rounds. I think last year at GMC, and then this year a little bit before the Waco tournament. We played a couple holes together, a couple of us. And so she'll say it every single time. She loves woods golf. She loves playing woods golf. And I think that's kind of how she grew up playing disc golf. So, honestly, kudos to her. It's incredible to see. We know her name, but it's cool to see her make that push, especially she was in contention to win it.
Did you notice? I've noticed it. Anytime she gets like a player interview, she brings, first of all, her Tennessee accent. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then it just is my perception that she's doing it as if she was like, I don't want to say in a pageant, but it comes across very formal. And it's just something, I love the personas and the characters that we have in disc golf. Like we don't have, that would be an interesting conversation. Who's the most boring disc golfer? And it's hard to answer because, and I'm getting off topic, like you might go right to like Calvin, but he's not boring.
He actually, he definitely is.
Yeah. So like, it's hard to pick. I think boring would mean we don't know about you. So anyways, that's a whole nother topic for another time. Rebecca Cox.
We'll start a list.
Rebecca Cox, as we get ready to wrap up FPO almost. She finished in 3rd place. All right. Now, she started out super hot tournament. Like, I think I looked at it was 6 down. And for FPO, that was significant. I think that was a 4-stroke lead just about. She kind of squandered it. I'll say squandered in the sense that she gave up that many in round 2, was able to perform at a decent enough level to be able to take 3rd place. But I will say, and you alluded to this already, Nick, I had heard that she had worked on her form and I'll get it out eventually. In an interview, she said that it's because she wants the longevity of being able to play disc golf without injury. Now, one thing, and I'm just going to be honest, one thing that I've noticed about her in all the seasons past is like, wow, like your arm is like breaking off, because she would have this like slingshot, as in like it looked like a flopping arm. And I'm trying to demonstrate like on camera, like her arm would be like here, and then her whole body would just turn.
She never really reached back. It was kind of, her body was very
turning
stiff in a sense of it worked for a while, but there's only so far that you can go with form like that in a sense. If she's talked about it, she wants to play the sport for a long time, that she needed to change that up. And I mean, I think had round 2 gone a little bit better for her, obviously that's a whole different conversation we'd be having right now, potentially. You know, that's all it took was 1 round at this tournament. Man, she finished 3rd place. So
if she performed 2nd round like significant, I'm just going to say significantly bad. That's obviously relative, you know, or whatever. But the idea is, had she played even just like what she did for the last round, not even as good as she did the first round, she would have won. But the point is, she's playing so much better. And when I saw her form for the first time this year, which was at this event, she was teeing off, I literally had my jaw drop at, wow, that is incredibly, I want to say it with emphasis, incredibly impressive. To be able to take your form, as drastic as it was, and to now actually have a form that looks like, I want to use the word normal, but like good, and to go from the extreme to that, how much work is that? Like, I don't even know how much work that is. That's like taking a habit out of your brain and changing it.
Well, Matt, maybe we'll try it with you. We'll just completely rework your form, see what happens with it. No,
I was waiting for you to go there. I think I need it.
Yeah. No, believe me, as you know, coming from someone who's changed their form many of times in the sense of like trying to work on different things, whether it's becoming more accurate or trying to gain more distance, doing that it's a very stressful period, because during your practice rounds you're playing awful, and then you got to go and compete at a tournament. And she does it for a living, and so for her to be able to have that mindset of, I'm going to change up my form completely, because I know in the long run it's going to make me a better player. And someone who's also doing this in a sense is, you know, Brody has talked many times that like he still needs to figure out his form and change it up a little bit. And so he's doing that while week in and week out playing tournaments. And so both of them, and especially in Rebecca's case, like there's obviously an added stress to it. So for her to come out and get this kind of momentum on her side, hopefully she's feeling confident walking away from this tournament. I know she's probably disappointed with the 3rd place finish, but at the same time, there's a lot of good things that came about from it.
Yeah, I'm just going to say it again. Impressive, Rebecca Cox. I don't think you listen to our show, but if you do, or someone wants to send it over to her, we would love to have her on the show to discuss that. Just incredible transformation. And I think it's just going to keep getting better. All right, Nick, we're going to wrap up the last 4 minutes here before we bring in our next guest, which would be Garrett Gurthie. But this is a significant topic. So to do it in 4 minutes, people are going to be like,
blow through it, but
people are going to say it's impossible, but here we go.
We're from Massachusetts. We're fast talkers.
Where is Paige Pierce? Not where is she now? Where was Paige Pierce?
Well, she was in Tyler, Texas, playing an event called the Texas State Championships.
But she played, right? She played, yeah.
She did play, and so she wasn't in the top 2 cards for the event. She averaged 936 golf, which which is different because obviously that's 60 points below her player rating.
For her, can we say for her that's bad?
Yeah,
like bad.
Yeah.
That's like me shooting like 870.
I think any player in the world, if they shot 60 points below their rating, they're going to say, yeah, believe me, that was awful. And there's a lot of bad things that probably happened. So finishing 11th place, 4 over par, 906 was the lowest rated round that she had. And at Waco, she finished 5th place, averaging 960 golf. So still had one really bad round, though, at 908. And so obviously it's different compared to what we saw at the beginning of the year. We saw the really dominant Paige on a big course. We saw the big throws. We saw the big putts and everything like that. And now we've kind of slowly transitioned into more of a technical side of things. And so I'm wondering if, maybe the mindset is go for everything. Maybe try to birdie every single hole because she feels like, look, she's this much of a better player than everyone else. Maybe she feels like she still needs to prove that week in and week out with aggressive play style.
You're saying it as good as I could say it. I feel like her mindset, have we heard this from her? I think we've interpreted it from her other interviews in the past years. She's an aggressive player. So to come out and the mindset of go for everything. Here's the interesting part with, and we've said parity, but with the competition level coming up as high as it is in FPO, there has to be a conversation, at least in her mind. Maybe we'll see. This is 2 events in a row for her with ratings from rounds being as low as 906 and 908 in the last 2 events. Like, again, that could be just a bad round, but something's telling me the competition level pressure is getting not into her head, but that the pressure, again, not the pressure, the competition level is keeping up with her more than they used to. And so she doesn't have that leeway to be as aggressive now on shots where it makes sense not to just go for it. It's like, okay, I'm going to lay up to the corner, even though I know I could get to the basket, because when you don't accomplish that and now your competition's only 2 back, that
exactly.
And so, and then she finds herself either getting behind and keeping that mindset and then continuing to get behind when it's not working. I wonder if we're going to have to see a change out of her and becoming more of, and I'm going to say it, and Nate Sexton, if you're listening, I'm sorry, I don't mean it negatively, Sexton golf, like to the point, making those choices.
So much. Yeah, I think we've said Sexton golf so much that it's not an insult at this point,
it's
because Nate knows what Sexton golf is. And it's playing more safe, obviously. It's playing more conservative in a lot of different areas where he knows, hey, I can make that shot, but I have a much better chance of playing it safe. And I'm either going to gain a stroke because someone else made a mistake, or I might lose a stroke because someone else made a great shot, or you pretty much go even on the hole. I mean, I think that's, where disc golf's at right now. And a lot of these courses this week is a little bit different, but a lot of courses lately have not had too much scoring separation, maybe a stroke here and there. So, yeah, I think the way that I'm not
counting her out.
The FPO division. Yeah, no, absolutely not. But with the way players are finally starting to come up, and with the variety of courses that we have, obviously, if it's a wide open course, like when they get to Jonesboro, I'm going to put Paige in my top 3 without a doubt, because that's a course where the long distance throw really helps out. But on these more technical wooded courses, you're starting to see players who are able to perform very well at those courses. So,
yeah,
I think that's definitely one takeaway from it.
And also, if there's any record being kept of previous seasons, she has struggled. I'm going to use the word struggled, and she's talked about it. She's struggled early on in the seasons in previous years, where whether she said she wasn't ready. Now, she came out pretty strong at the first event, obviously, but to see these 2 struggles, it just tells me that she's a competitor. She loves competition. She likes learning. She likes getting better. I don't have any real concerns here, but to see, those low rounds, I'll just say it again. Where was she? Hopefully she's figuring that out, because we want to see her competing with the best at the top again. And Nick, wrap this up. What do you think about her being the first FPO to get to 1,000? Is it going to happen now with these low rounds that just came in?
I haven't looked at the whole month of March on what the ratings could be, but I'm assuming with these last few tournaments that I either think she'll stay stagnant over at 996 at the moment, or she will potentially drop, but this next update, I don't think she's going to hit the 1,000 mark. Okay. But hopefully she does, because that'd be incredible for the sport and everything about it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, man. So we've made it to this point in the show where we're bringing on a guest who is going to be a fan favorite for sure. We have him in the green room. It took me all but 2 seconds to get him in, and we're going to welcome him right now.
Nice.
His name is Garrett Gurthie. Garrett Gurthie, super far distance thrower, jerky making, sonic throwing. How's it going, Garrett?
Pretty good. Sorry for the terrible landscape I got here, but I had to drive to get a little bit better service. So
It's definitely not too bad.
all right. What's up, Nick? How's it going, man?
What's up, homie? How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Just had a little bag of jerky before the show to get things going good.
Of course,
There you go. I
did.
wish I had a bag right now. Fill me up right before the show.
To be clear,
Dude, I'll be sure to send you some after the show. I'll have my guys send you some.
Yeah,
my man, I appreciate it.
So to be clear, your guy did send the Nick and Matt show jerky, but I hogged it all because now I'm in Massachusetts and Nick is down in Virginia. So I could save some, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later, but I don't think I'm laughing because I don't think I'm going to have any to save. So, okay, let's get into it here. You had a great finish, Garrett, at Texas State. So you tied for 5th place. You averaged 1,038 rated golf, finishing 18 under par. This is your second best finish this year. After, and I don't mean to be negative about it, but what could have been observed as a decline over the last 2 events. So you started out 4th place at LVC. You kind of played a little, no play on words here, but a little subpar in the last 2 events. Probably not what you wanted to, but then you came out here and you just kind of, I don't want to use the word killed it. I want you to describe it. How do you feel that you played there?
This tournament, I kind of gave myself not many expectations, but to go out there and, try to play my best because the tree kicks are going to happen. You're going to have bad spots. And with me being a vet to the sport, I feel like I had an advantage over most. So, doing trick shots over the course of my, 17 years of being professional kind of made me succeed through the weekend. I didn't expect to do as well as I did, quite frankly, but I was really happy with the results for the top 5 finish for being in the woods. That's a pretty happy double G. Yeah, me.
Yeah, that definitely, because you're known for your distance drives, and there's no doubt about it. I mean, people argue you're one of the furthest distance throwers, and especially when it comes to golf distance, and you've proven that week in and week out on coverage. But do you think people out there in the world still underestimate the technical shots that you have? Because there's another thing that people say is that you're one of the best rock throwers in the game. You throw it incredibly well. I don't know which ones exactly you throw, but you were the 8th most accurate considering the fairway hits this last weekend. So do you think people still really underestimate your ability to play those technical shots?
I think so, maybe, but that's okay if someone underestimates me a little bit, and I'm not mad at them for that. But I grew up playing in wooded golfs through the pines here in Florida. So watching Climo lace lines and Johnny McRae, they used to spank my butt, and watching them really lace lines over my career really made me a better player. Ken Climo, I would say hands down, was one of the best rock throwers of all time. And if he's still out on the course, I guarantee you, if you're playing a rock round, he might have you for sure all day. So.
That'd be a cool challenge to see on YouTube one day. Garrett versus Kenny in the woods, rocks only.
So he's got that great putt.
Yeah.
I need to go to Kenny putt camp here soon and get that putt super dialed for the season to come. So
absolutely.
I'm struggling a little bit, but I'm working through the kinks like anybody else with a part of their game. So I'm trying to relax whenever I can and still get the putting reps in. So, I'm working on it. And, like I said, Champ's one of the best rock throwers of all time.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So
no doubt.
UDisc gives us a pretty cool stat nowadays called, strokes gained. Okay. So I don't know if you've checked that out, but you had a very, very high strokes gained from tee to green. And that was almost 19 and a half strokes against the field. And I'm not exactly sure the tee to green, how that plays, but you had high fairway hits. I think it means green in regulation. But what do you think was the highest performing part of your game this week and that helped you do that?
With me lacking with my putt, I did score a lot by parking the holes. So my accuracy's been pretty consistent over the course of the season so far. So with me being able to get that disc down the fairway, I was even impressed on some of the shots I threw this weekend. I'm not much of a sidearm thrower, but it really required a demanding sidearm. So, Ricky won, and he won with stride. So with that being said, it required a really nice sidearm with a complementary backhand. And, if I had a little bit more of both of the putting and the sidearm, I think I would have had a little bit better of a chance.
No, absolutely. Well, so speaking of that, with the competition, we've said this so many times at this point, but the competition's obviously getting better and better each year. And I think for a couple of years you were kind of off the scene a little bit. But what are you doing now that you're back? You're touring full time. You got the jerky business going and everything like that. What are you doing to ensure that you stay in the conversation week in and week out? Because obviously you got an incredible backhand. So now are you working more towards that woods game? Are you focusing more on the putting practice and everything like that?
I would say more towards the putting practice. I'm towards that and the sidearm game, because everyone that's winning these tournaments have, like I said, a complementary sidearm to backhand. Paul, Ricky, Eagle, they're all winning these tournaments, and they have both. They have the putt, they have the backhand, and they have the forehand. So, there's other winners out there as well. I'm not mentioning right now, forgive me, but it is a struggle to always maintain a good practice while you're on the road, because sometimes you're a little bit behind and sometimes you want to relax for a day or two, but it's really a grind. This is the 6th tournament in a row that I've played, and all the way up to 9 in a row going week to week without a stop. So it is nice to have a nice little break, but at the same time, you got to get that practice in and get those reps in every day. So,
man, you have been an inspiration to so many players through your disc throwing abilities. That recent commercial that you had, or that advertisement with the racing drone, the FPV drone. I like flying drones, and I typically do the cinematic, but I've dabbled in the FPV. I enjoy that. And when I watched that scene, Garrett, I said out loud, that has to be the best disc golf drone coverage that has been recorded to date. Very cool shots. Was that fun? Was that fun flying, throwing for a drone?
First off, shout out to Carlton Scoyote for, flying that thing. It really takes a lot of work to fly one of those high speed drones. And for him to capture some of the footage he did was quite amazing. We flew him out, Double G Craft Jerky flew him out from Arkansas to Stockton, California, where OTB Discs Open is going to be this year. And that's the course that it took place on, and we're very thankful for them for letting us use their property. So shout out to OTB. Thank you very much. Carlton Scoyote flies this drone with so much skill. It's insane. Like, we got some disc going up in flight, and he was almost so close where he was like skipping off of my disc whenever he was flying. But we're going to be working with him soon again, doing some more cool stuff, but we can't really share that right now, but we got some really cool stuff in the works.
And
that's always one of my least favorite things to hear, because they hype you up so much on like these future collabs going on and all this like big news, and then you're like, oh, now I gotta wait a couple weeks, or now I gotta wait a few months. And so it's funny, but it's very exciting to hear that there are more incredible things in the works. Matt and I did a video last year just for fun out of this park, and we were trying to do some drone flying where we would just throw a drive and pretty much just fly the drone straight and then fly it back. So that's my only experience actually using a drone at this point. But my brother loves them. And so it's pretty cool. It was a very fun commercial to watch.
Yeah, and what was that commercial for? I want to say I was Double G Craft Jerky. Am I wrong?
That's it.
All right. So yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit. People following it on social media, or really, I guess that's probably the biggest way, or seeing you out on tour, they're going to see that you enjoy you like cooking meat, whether it's smoked or barbecued or however you're preparing it on the road even. You'll have to tell us about that, how you're doing that on the road. But you recently started up a jerky brand called Double G Craft Jerky. Can you tell us about how that came to be, maybe where the vision was and how it got to where it is right now?
Yeah, of course. Well, ever since I was about 15 or 16, I started making my own beef jerky whenever I had access to my job at the bowling alley. So we had a meat slicer, we had a walk-in fridge, we had tubs to marinate stuff in. So I had a really inspiring chef that I worked with that wasn't just like your typical bowling alley food. It was more like restaurant style food. So he kind of helped me get on the right line of how things work and marinade. So my first batch of jerky I made by myself, I kind of nailed it. So ever since I was 16, I traveled with my dehydrator everywhere, just making my own personal batch of beef jerky. So once I started coming back on the tour, I obviously brought my dehydrator with me, and my buddies, of course, on the course, they wanted to share the snack with me, and I, of course, shared because I love sharing and letting people taste food. That's like one of the best things on earth is getting a reaction on people liking your food. So I shared it with some players on tour and some of my friends back home, and I had a couple friends back home that said, "Man, why aren't you selling this like to everybody?" So they got with me and my buddy Ted and my buddy Jim. We started a business together, and we reached out to the right companies, and they're bagging it for us and everything. It's my recipes, but with me being on the road, I can't really make my own personal batch jerky.
Oh man,
on the road. We got it getting pumped up out of California. We're using really high quality meats. We're using beef brisket, which a lot of people don't know, but if they're watching the show, they can know. Rather than your typical scrap meats that other companies might use. So I'm not talking or dogging any other company, but we use high quality meat. So everyone's been loving it so far, and we actually started Double G Children's Foundation when we started the company as well. So part of each sale goes to the Double G Children's Foundation to help kids start disc golf or get started to disc golf, or if they need gear for disc golf or a basket, we're going to start donating to families in need that actually need gear to, get them in the right direction. Because whenever I was a kid, I came from a poor background, and I had a lot of families help me along the way. So it's time for me to give back. So
it's very, very cool to hear, and it's kind of like it's very humbling to hear where someone in an opportunity like yourself has created what, in a sense, honestly, kind of changed the disc golf world when it came to the pros, because you were giving it out left and right. Everyone was loving it. A lot of people are supporting it. I really liked it. I tried some when I was at Vegas. You do have the 4 flavors: the original, the teriyaki, garlic lover's dream, and the hot boom sauce. I don't know if you have more than that now, but
Nick, I have with me. Oh,
probably the hot boom sauce.
No, okay, look, I do have. Okay, I'm just gonna do this for now. People listening and you don't like the sound of chewing, I'm very sorry. But if you're watching and you don't like the sound or the view of somebody chewing, I'm sorry. But I'm gonna tell you how this tastes live. This is a piece of teriyaki. Now,
let's go.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
Explain
teriyaki.
What you were going for, Garrett, with the teriyaki. What were you going for with this flavor?
The teriyaki I wanted to have as my sweet flavor. All my other ones are a little bit more savory on the savory side or spicy side. So I wanted teriyaki to have a little bit more sweetness than the other. So if they did buy multiple bags and they felt like one was spicy, they open up the bag of teriyaki and it kind of settles the mood a little bit on the heatness. So
for the listeners and the viewers, teriyaki is probably straight up the best. I'm not gonna call it a plain flavor. It's teriyaki. But it's got to be straight up the best teriyaki. And I'm not saying this because Garrett's sitting on camera with me. I, in fact, gave a package. I have 4 boys, 11 and younger, and I have a wife. And they tried a piece. And I'm not joking when they said, "This is amazing. This is incredible." These are quotes. "This is so good." And in fact, my 2-year-old was coming over.
Way.
Yes, my 2-year-old was coming over for jerky. And he kept looking at the package and saying, "Bacon. Bacon." he it looked like bacon to him, and he tried it, and I have a video, I can send it to you. He's 2 years old and he uses his 2 front teeth and he rips a piece off and he smiles. So
yes,
so good. I just pulled out the garlic lovers. Explain this one. What'd you do for this?
Garlic lovers, that's one of my favorites personally. I did throw a little bit of pepper in there to kind of settle down the garlic, because The garlic can be a little overwhelming on the breath a little bit, but I feel like the pepper kind of tames it down a little bit. But the garlic is just hands down my favorite on and off the course. If I had one all-time favorite, I'm eating garlic lovers all day, just because it gives you enough, just that little enough of the pepper heat on the course to not like make you want to drink a whole bottle of water. Now, that hot boom sauce, on the other hand, you're going to want to chug about half of your water out.
Let me go real quick with the boom sauce. I'm going to go full screen here. This, okay. And they should be able to see it. This, my friends, is a hot pepper flaked piece of jerky that, honestly, I've had it before now, and I'm going to do it now, and I'm hopefully not going to need a drink of water. If you like hot jerky, and I'm going to let you explain it, but if you like spicy jerky, this is not what you would call insane, but we gave it to Simon. He was doing a live commentary feed for the Pro Tour, and I was producing, and I said, "Here, have a piece of this." And he started chewing on, his face started turning red. So if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But if you like spicy, you are going to love this. So go ahead and explain what you're going for with that.
So with the hot boom sauce, I kind of wanted to make it something with a little bit of sweetness before you actually take down that whole piece of jerky. Because if you taste it, there's a little bit of that sweetness that I can't tell you that it is.
I'm tasting it right now.
It kind of, and later it's like a slow creep, but I don't think it's overwhelming. If I had a spice level on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm putting that in a 6.
Yeah, see that 6 to me is like 600. I'm the biggest wimp when it comes to spicy food, so I'm gonna stick to the teriyaki. I'm good with that. I would try the garlic lover's dream. The way you guys made it sounds pretty good. It doesn't sound too bad. But I'm over here now sitting in my own studio, and Matt's over there just munching on some beef jerky. Must be nice.
The live chat. So let me explain. The live chat saying they're so hungry right now. They're running to the store. They got to get some wannabe GG jerky. But let's tell them, how can they get their own Double G craft jerky?
Yeah, head on over to doublegjerky.com. It's pretty simple. We got 4 flavors. If you want to become a wholesaler as well, there's a wholesale button. Requirements to be a wholesaler: you need 25 bags of one flavor. Up to 100 or whatever you want to order. But if you are a brick and mortar, we offer the 100 pack starter pack, and that's 25 of each flavor. And like I said, doublegjerky.com. We got original, we got garlic lovers, we got hot boom sauce, and we got teriyaki, and we got peppered on the way. So for all you peppered fans, stay tuned. Peppered's coming soon. We also got some good news. I've been working with Paul Macbeth on a collab. He's going to be on the original bag of jerky, and we're going to make him a special bag. I can't show you yet, but stay tuned. He's going to be on here, and he's going to be my first disc golfer on a collab with a bag of beef jerky with me. So I'm pretty excited. Cool. Me and Paul go way back. When I first did my traveling, I was in my 2000 Ford Mustang. It was me, Paul Macbeth, John Tompkins, and Tommy Ekman. 4 people in my Mustang, traveling around for like a year. And the times were so good, and the memories were great, and I'll always remember them. And hats off to Paul for working with me and working with our foundations together, and his new foundation. So we're hoping to grow together, and through disc golf, we're going to keep growing the sport. And, if he's not winning the world championship, hopefully I am. So we're going to keep growing the sport all in all. And, we're all here for disc golf, and you got to love that.
Exactly. 2 incredible things. The Garrett Gurthie Children's Foundation coming about, and then the Paul Macbeth Foundation. People will go out, support both of those. Supporting Garrett helps support the Children's Foundation, and then supporting the future Paul Macbeth collabed original beef jerky is also going to put proceeds toward the Paul Macbeth Foundation. So 2 incredible opportunities to really help out in the disc golf community, and honestly outside of the disc golf community at this point. So check it out. It's very, very humbling and very cool to hear about all this, and to kind of see it in fruition is really cool. I love seeing stuff start out and then just slowly build up. And I remember actually today, Paul had texted me. He said, "Hey, if you can't bring this up," and when he said that you guys were working with your children's foundation and his foundation, it's a very happy moment
Yeah. for sure.
where times, obviously over the last year and a half, times haven't been incredible with everything going on right now. So to be able to have these little happy moments go on, that's just a huge kudos to you. Huge kudos to Paul as well.
Thanks, Nick. And yeah, thank you, Paul. Appreciate you, man.
So in wrapping up, I'm trying so hard to be a good host and not eat the pile of jerky I just created next to me. I will say it one more time. I travel quite a bit, not as much as you, Garrett, not as much as the disc golfer, but I travel quite a bit, and I'm always stopping at these rest stops, and I'm like, I want a piece of jerky. I get it. It's too salty. It's too whatever. Like it's just like, it's hard to eat sometimes. You're like, yeah, that was good for one piece, maybe. This.
Why do you think I travel with my own dehydrator?
I make everything perfect the way you like it.
I would consider it because I'm kind of, so just tell us real quick before you go. What's your favorite meat besides jerky? Obviously, jerky's great because you can have it on the road with you. But like when you're cooking up something, is it like I don't know, what is it?
Pork tenderloin's my go-to. I make it perfect every time. Also, I'm a big fan of making a little tri-tip on the smoker. Reverse sear it. I like to thank my friend Chef Greg Mueller from RecTech Grills. He's actually a guy that I follow on Instagram. If you can follow him or RecTech Grills, they have amazing tips for smoking meats and everything. I owe them a lot of tips for that, and I follow them just like any YouTube video, and smoke it is just as good as anybody else.
Very
totally.
Cool.
Now you mentioned just a minute ago before we let you go. We'll wrap it up with a little bit of disc golf talk again. The meat is great. Go out and buy it. But you mentioned if Paul's not winning another world championship, hopefully you are. Can I ask, because I did not do research on this, do you know your best finish at a pro world championship? Do you know, or the range? What do you think?
I would say 9th or 12th.
Okay.
That range.
Okay.
There.
Do you feel like, well, we already told you, our perspective is not getting easier. Do you feel like, it's out there for you? Is that still your dream and your vision to go out there and perform high enough to win worlds?
Oh, definitely. I think I have the range of the shots. If I need a little tune-up on my sidearm, that's cool. But once I figure out this darn putting thing, it's on, I got to make a few putts outside of circle, in circle 2, where these players are they got this nice spin putt where I don't really have that right now. So like I said, I'm going to be working and digging because I'm not giving up until, if I'm a master, I'm still going to be trying after it, Even the master championship, I'm still going to be chasing that championship, man.
Yep.
That's what we live for. That's what we're here for. And, I know each and every single disc golfer that's touring is going to say the same thing, that they have it in them. So I'm not going to back down, and I'm learning every day, just like anyone else should.
And before we let you go, too, I want you to know I bag 2 Garrett Gurthie Sonics. That is a regular staple in my bag.
He does.
And I have gotten people to go, really? And then they go out and try to buy one because they think it's so great. It's a great disc that you've promoted. I hope that that's supporting you well. Is there any way for people to get those? Are those coming out again? What discs will support you? Where should they go to support you with purchase besides Jerky?
As of right now, Infinite Disc has got some discs up for me. The Swirly S-Blend Emperors, if you head on over to Infinite Disc, they have some. Innova, my Tour Series disc is right around the corner, and I can't spill the beans on that one yet. So stay tuned. That's going to be dropping very soon. Gorilla Disc Golf, they have some shirts and discs online that sales help benefit me while I'm traveling. End Zone Quick Sticks, if you need disc retrieval tool, Levon Wolf with End Zone Quick Stick, check them out. Thanks for all the support, everybody. I know I'm missing some people, but T-Box Socks, they're doing a lot with disc golf. They're really rad, and they keep nice fresh socks on my feet. So
very cool.
If
And
you
one
can't,
more time, shout out your jerky website and everything. Where can the people buy the jerky?
if you want some Double G craft jerky, head on over to doublegjerky.com. Grab 4 flavors, grab 8, grab 12, share with your friends. I can guarantee it's really good. But I love hearing your feedback, so that's the only way we can continue to grow and make things better. So if there's something that's not quite right, feel free to email us, let us know your feedback. It'll be really appreciated.
And for the people who might not follow you right now on Instagram or Facebook, wherever you post the most, kind of your up to dates, what's going on in life, what's going on with the jerky stuff, where can everyone find you? Where can the disc golfers go?
Yep, on Instagram you can find me at Garrett Gurthie, or on Facebook at Garrett Gurthie. I got a Garrett Gurthie Double G fan page on Facebook. I don't do much with that right now. That's in the works to be doing more. I have a Double G Craft Jerky Instagram page, so feel free to like and follow me on there. And make sure you like Foundation Disc Golf and follow the Nick and Matt show. We really appreciate you having me on.
It's been a blessing, dude. It's been very, very fun. We appreciate how easy it was to actually, lock it in, get a time slot and everything like that. Your internet has been great. It's all very few things that to everyone else might not mean a lot, but to us from the Nick and Matt show, it really does mean a lot. So we really appreciate you coming on the show.
Hey, no problem. Anytime, guys. Nick, Matt, I appreciate you guys, and love staying tuned to your show.
Wow, that means a lot. Have a good evening, man. Bye. All right, everybody. That was Garrett Gurthie. Amazing individual. In fact, you had people in the chats being like, wow, he seems like a really cool dude. I need to go out and buy some jerky or get some Sonics or Emperors or whatever. Really, really cool. And I'm not making this up, Nick. And I know you're hungry and you're jealous over there.
Yeah, no, I got to figure out
virtual jerky. We'll make virtual jerky. It was like, it was hitting the spot. Like, amazing. I'm over here, like, seriously, I'm just going to put them away for now because I'll eat them after when I'm putting up the show. But anyways,
no,
great interview.
Not just saying it, but it was really good jerky. I think I had tried the garlic one, and then I definitely had the teriyaki one because almost anything teriyaki I absolutely love. So
how about
people, please go check it out. Go onto the website. It's supporting incredible causes as well as, supporting a disc golfer who is heading in the right direction, with the platform that he has and developing the Children's Foundation, everything like that. Very awesome. Be on the lookout for the Paul McBeth collab as well to support the Paul McBeth Foundation.
Yeah, Nick, people in the chat tonight, they're doing some fire comments. It's great. They said, and I hope Paul's listening. I know Hannah was listening earlier, but the Paul McBeth jerky, it needs to be goat jerky. Eh?
Just some sort of goat
jerky. All right.
Makes total sense.
Okay, so we're moving on out of the conversation with our interviews. We discussed, just in recap, the MPO, how it played out for the Texas State Disc Golf Championship, and we discussed FPO, how it played out for them as well. There's a few closeout topics here before we get to the end of the show. First one being, you ready, guys? Ezra Aderhold. Now, if you remember, and I feel kind of bad, because I really hope that it wasn't me that jinxed anything, and I'm not going to take the credit for that anyways.
Right.
But I asked him if it was a fluke at LVC, and he said the only thing that was a fluke was round 3, which was a poor performance according to him. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, we have seen a decline. At this recent event, he averaged 989, which doesn't sound significantly bad, but for him, that is poor as a 1,000. I think he's 22 rated, maybe. Oh, yeah, somewhere in there.
It says, 33 points. So quick math, I would say you were just about right.
Okay, so he shot 1 over par after 3 rounds at Texas State. That left him in 76th place. Now, nobody's happy about that. I'm not happy about that. I'm not reveling in his poor performance. But it should be noted, the last 4 events following LVC, these are his placement finishes. 22nd, 27th, 67th, 76th. What's happened? Now,
And that average, getting 22nd place and 27th place, it sounds awful for, kind of how he would describe how he wants the season to go and how we thought kind of like how the season would go. But at Memorial, he did average 1028 golf, just above his rating. And then at Waco, averaged 1024 golf, again, just above his rating. Now you have two completely different style of courses. You got a really wooded one, or I should say 50-50 wooded and open. And then you had Memorial, which was pretty much wide open. Then you get into more, I would say, 70 to 80% wooded golf, where Belton, he only averaged 990 golf, and obviously at Texas State only averaged 989. So I think we're kind of seeing something to where obviously he doesn't feel as comfortable in the woods as he does out in the open. And I think a lot of players could say that, especially the ones with that big distance. But I don't think that's going to be a trend that we see all year. Matt, I really want to say that you're probably not the reason why he's not doing as well.
I don't want that credit.
I think you're an easy cop-out. Maybe if he plays bad at Jonesboro, then we'll definitely say, look, Matt, we're not allowed to talk to people.
Let's talk about it, because you just brought up Jonesboro, and I think that's where the conversation needs to go. Waco, it's not majority woods, it's half woods, right? It's 9 holes, more open, still tough.
Exactly.
Still tough,
in
technical,
Waco,
17, hole 17, and some others. Yeah, go ahead.
The open holes at Waco, excuse me, I got an itch. The open holes at Waco, I feel like I'm going to sneeze.
I gotta put, there's Garrett again. I gotta put that on, I gotta clip that out and sniff, sniff, I'm going to sneeze. I know, you said I need to scratch. What did you say?
I'll say this, at Waco, and I was there. I attempted to play Waco, and it was super windy. 2 out of the 3 days. And so, that definitely plays a factor, even though it's a little bit more open on some of those holes. When that wind is picking up, it's headwinds on certain holes, it's tailwinds on other holes. It definitely does not make it easier. And so, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I took another bite of jerky. I couldn't resist.
No, it's all right. It's funny. This is completely off topic, but I actually just got a message from Holly Finley saying that, sorry, my message, the one that I sent her on Instagram, it for some odd reason went into her spam folder, which, I'm not the most popular person in the world, so I can see how that happens. But she did say she'd love to come on the show sometime soon. So that's another guest that potentially in the future we will have on, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there's potential, especially she knows it. In the woods, she performs at a higher level than most because she hits those lines. We'll have her on soon. But back to Ezra.
Yeah,
when we get to Jonesboro, this is literally, I don't want to say it's a test, but Eagle McMahon at Jonesboro, Ezra Aderhold at Jonesboro, even Kevin Jones, these players who have been more or less underperforming according to what they would like to do. Jonesboro seems to be, I've never been there. Have you been to Jonesboro?
No, I haven't. I actually really want to go. That's one of the few tournaments I'd say left that I really want to go to. Obviously the Oregon tournaments, because they look really, really nice, but Jonesboro actually looks like a really fun course. And I've heard incredible things about it.
Yeah, from what you've seen of it though, and again, I'm not a player, but from what you see on camera, it seems to be, if you can throw far, and I'm not saying it's wide open far, but if you can throw far, you're going to set yourself, it sounds so obvious, for better opportunities for birdies. And it's not as wooded. It's not like a wooded, tree-ridden fairway course. And I feel like seeing players like Ezra perform well there could happen. Eagle, of course, again, Kevin Jones, Christic, all these players. It's out of the woods, as we've been in for the last 2 or 3 events. And if we still see underperforming at this event, then it seems to be more of a trend. So I'm not condemning him, obviously. He made a social media post that said apparently he's a horrible disc golfer now. His mental game, that means, is starting to question his skills, which can only then lead towards, unless that's how he inspires himself. He can't do that on the course.
Exactly.
But
I haven't seen the social media post, but I could definitely say, Ezra, you're not a horrible disc golfer. That's a very false statement. I think he will perform well.
He just needs to play. He just needs to play with you once or twice, and he'll feel better about himself, right?
Exactly. We can go with that one.
You got me early. I'm razzing you now.
Exactly.
Okay.
I definitely think that great things will happen with Ezra this year. I think we're going to hit a stretch of tournaments where Longer courses are going to start coming into play that have that openness, but still you got to hit the lines. But the advantage definitely goes to a player who can throw that big shot. So
yeah. All right.
I got faith in him.
All right. Here's another closeout topic. And we'd be remiss not to bring it up. Brodie Smith, because we've been doing this almost every show so far this season. We're calling it the Brodie Smith Tracker. Yeah, exactly. It's its own segment now. I'm just going to put it this way. He's still shooting better than I expected. Now, who am I? I'm Matt of the Nick and Matt Show, and it doesn't mean much, but I didn't expect him. I'm just being honest after last year. I did not expect him to come out and rank anywhere near the 20th place. Where there's 25th, 27th, 20th, 18th. Like the fact that he's doing that and averaging about that right now in the 25th place or better. If he does that all the way to the end of the season, incredible. I'm already impressed, but if he does that throughout the whole season, when we see courses like, and this is where I'm going to put a whole big litmus test on it, Ledgestone, Idlewild, MVP Open, Green Mountain Championships. Again, you'd say, well, what's the difference? Is that like Waco, or is that like even Texas State where they just were? Nick, you've been to a lot of these courses.
A lot harder.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Speak to it.
I haven't been to the Texas State or the Belton courses, but from what I've seen, there wasn't as much scoring separation as I think that we would see at courses like Ledgestone, at Northwoods Golds and Eureka Temp course, if they're still playing that one, at Idlewild, where the fairways actually seem a little bit tighter. There seems like to be more OB at Idlewild, I'm pretty sure. So I think that's more of a scoring separated course. Obviously, MVP Open has a lot of OB. Very, very fair course, being Maple Gold's very incredible course, #1 course in the world, actually. And then one of my personal favorites going up to Vermont every single year, the Green Mountain Championships. I think out of the 3 courses I was just talking about, I think those are kind of the easier ones when it comes to Brewster Ridge being in the woods, and then Fox Run being definitely a little bit more open, but very, very fair. But that's one of my all-time favorite tournaments. I love going up there. I think that's a place Brodie's going to do exceptionally well at. Brodie's got the distance. He's got the upshots. He's working on the forehand game. He's got incredible forehand touch. And he said his putting is finally starting to feel better again. So I think those are all good things leading up into these next few tournaments. I should say those ones more the back.
Yeah. The ones we were talking about. So to just touch on my perspective of his forehand touch, apparently he's really good at scrambling, which I feel like makes sense coming from, and I think I've heard him say this, from the ultimate background, having a lot of those step out, lean, weird kind of body placement that we're not used to. He's able to incorporate that into scrambling. And I think you had to have a scramble game at Texas State. You had to have a scramble game at Waco. Like. And he's able to do it. He's performing again at a higher level than I think somebody who's their second year in disc golf should be doing. So
Brodie's an athlete. Brodie, he takes his body very seriously when it comes to, he stretches before the round, he stretches after the round. And so to be an athlete and to be athletic out in the course, he's definitely proving how that is an advantage. And he's grown. I would say he's probably the only one who feels he's not playing as well as he should be, when a lot of other people out in the disc golf world are thinking, hey, you're really impressing me. You're impressed me with how you took the second half of the year off last year, obviously dealing with the Lyme disease and wanting to better yourself as a disc golfer, got a big win, and then coming into the 2021 season, shooting incredible golf, hitting that 1,000 rating. And, I think there's a lot of good things going on.
Yeah, for sure. Now you got me interested in another topic, and it wasn't in our show notes, so we'll just dabble a little bit here. But you said he's an athlete, and I just want to have a fun conversation. What other athletes, like actual athletes that we know in the world, I'm just going to pick Tom Brady or Tiger Woods or Stephen Curry, or, LeBron seems a little bit, I don't know, like a disc golfer, but the point is, pick another athlete, right? Pick your favorite athlete. How fast do you think your favorite athlete could transition to the sport of disc golf? And I mean that in the sense of actually perform at an above average level. And in the case of Brodie, I know he came from a disc sport background, so that is an advantage as an athlete and a disc sport background. But so let's take, I don't know, Tom Brady's getting a little old now, but he's a hero to us up here in New England.
Yeah.
And now Tampa Bay.
So
but like, how long would it take him to throw a disc and perform at 1,000 rating?
Yeah, just a funny thing about Tom Brady really quick, though, and it made me laugh because yesterday was 328, and that's obviously the halftime score of that Super Bowl against the Falcons, and Tom Brady had actually posted a picture saying happy 328 day and tagged a bunch of Patriots players in it. So that was really cool to see. That was like kind of maybe.
Okay, interjection, better player maybe. And this just got me excited because the chat got excited. Patrick Mahomes. Oh, man. I think that was
Patrick's better player than Tom Brady.
No, we're not starting that debate.
Oh
no. We're saying which athlete could perform disc golf within, let's say, a year or two's time at 1,000 rated player or better.
I would pick Mahomes over Brady 100% of the time. Yeah.
How cool would it be to see an athlete like Mahomes get into disc golf? Now, it's not going to happen, but imagine that the level, because you know how in tune they are with every portion. And now maybe it's like Macbeth. Maybe it's like Ricky's trying to do and Brody and all these players are trying to do now. Eagle, refining portions of their throw and their body down to the nth degree. But you take an athlete who's making X amount of $1 million a year as their job and they're taking it very seriously and they came to disc golf. It would be very cool to see at what level disc golf could actually be performed at as a, again, true athlete. And that's not to discredit, real quick, that's not to discredit Paul, Eagle, Ricky, anybody else. You're athlete. You're true athletes as well. I hope you understand my comparison to outside of disc golf.
I think if you're to look outside of disc golf, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, only in the sense of like this is a very objective conversation. I think anyone would, like, I'll probably get roasted for what I'm going to say, but I think a lot of baseball players, athletic baseball players, and especially very athletic pitchers would have, and you can kind of say the same thing, whoever's a great hitter in baseball. I think they have that hip rotation. They have that explosiveness. I think baseball would correlate pretty well into those athletes transitioning over into disc golf. And one of the reasons I say that is, you know, we look at one of our friends, Nick Economos. He's been playing disc golf for years and years and years, but he's an incredible baseball player. You know, was up playing AA ball. I think, you know, potentially got signed to a team out in Canada. I don't know what's going on with that, but he's an incredible pitcher. And I've seen him pitch live. It's very fun to watch, but he's also someone who distance-wise could keep up with the best players in the world without a doubt. Athletically, he's an incredible athlete when it comes to baseball. And he's one of those people who you just look and said, look, if you spent a year or two honing in your skills in, like, say, the sport of disc golf, he'd be an insanely good player. I don't want to say like top 5, top 10, top 20, because that's obviously, it all depends on the person. But I think he would be an incredible player in our sport, following what baseball has taught him into what disc golf is kind of how it's played. But so, you know, I honestly, I thought tennis players would make incredible disc golfers, and then someone said no. Like I met a tennis player who played like semi-pro and who was starting up disc golf, and he was like, it really does not correlate at all. So I don't know.
You just reminded me of a funny I'll try to tell a quick story. I have my 4 sons, one of them Hunter, 11 years old, but I think probably back when he was like 8 years old, maybe 7, somewhere in that range. But he still is really into disc golf, sponsored disc golfer by Innova Discs. Thank you for their sponsorship to him. But he once was playing a game of like charades. And think this out in your head. It's actually kind of funny. If you get a card that says tennis, like you're playing tennis, and you try to act out tennis, but your sport of choice is disc golf. So he's a disc golfer. He's watching somebody act out tennis. Now, how would you act out tennis? On camera here, if you're watching live, you're going to be doing like side arms. You're going to be doing backhands. You're going to do overhand shots, like spiking the tennis ball. You're going to be doing all of those shots. And he's standing there and he's like watching what they're doing. He's watching them act it out. And he's like, his answer instead of a tennis player is a disc golfer throwing every single type of disc golf shot. That was his answer. And it was like,
not a bad answer.
Bro, it looks just like it. You're right. So the charades of tennis looks very much like a disc golfer throwing every shot of disc golf. So, okay, moving on to our next topic.
I'd be curious if an incredible tennis player really did come over into the sport. I'd be curious to see their athleticism into it, you know.
But we have to pay a lot of money. We could have a TV show made on that. That'd be pretty cool. Players switching up sports. Is there a series like that anywhere? That sounds really cool. Players like switching up sports. Now I know athletes can typically play pretty well, but like actually have them like switch up just for like a week or it'd have to be like a month so they could get into it.
Yeah.
But that'd be a cool episode, and one being disc golf. That'd be pretty cool. Mm-hmm. All right, moving on. Is Woods golf? In general, this is a weird take here, but is Woods golf good for disc golf? And obviously, we're talking Maple Hill, a lot of Idlewild, Texas State. We're talking a portion of Waco. Like, who here likes Woods golf? Let's say more than open ball golf style courses, and vice versa. What do you think, Nick? What's your preference for course that you like to play?
So I'll give you the player's perspective and then the spectator perspective. For me, player-wise, I'd much rather play in the woods, mix in a couple open holes here and there. But I love wood golf. It's super fun. I mean, that to me, that's how I grew up playing. And I'm not talking like 100% woods courses. I'm talking about, you know, like courses where there's woods, but there's fairways. Like one of my favorite all-time courses is W.R. Jackson. Another one is there's a course in New York. It's called FDR State Park. And the back nine of that course is one of my favorite back nines to play in disc golf. I love the open style fairways that have trees, you know, pretty regularly. But then I also love playing, you know, Maple Hill where you have holes like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That just really, you got to hit a fairway to succeed. And I think a majority of people would say they love playing that kind of golf in the sense of anyone who throws 400 feet and under, I think would agree to woods golf is more fun. It's a different style of play. You're not really ripping drivers all day. You're kind of finessing mid-ranges and fairways and those hybrid drivers, and with a couple holes here and there throwing out that big drive. But as a spectator, and I want to, you know, allude to a tweet that I saw by Will Schustrick, I think. And he had said, so he had said that, you know, ball golf is way easier to watch. It's way easier for the filming crews. It's way easier for the spectators to have out on the course. And it's way easier to watch like post-round production and even live production as well. And I agree to that in the sense of I don't like watching this previous tournament. I don't think it was, and it's nothing against the camera crews. They're obviously doing the best that they can do out there, but I don't think where people were set up showcased how the course actually plays in a sense. And I know that's hard to like completely tell how a course plays. Like I didn't know D-Glow was actually as elevated as it was until I actually went out to Michigan and played the course. So I guess what I'm thinking is like, I can't really, you know, see how much the fairways bend or anything like that just from watching the live coverage. Cause you had, you know, obviously a camera guy on the tee, and then sometimes you had a camera guy by the basket, but it's like all of a sudden you see them tee and then you lose the disc for a couple seconds and then boom, catch cam comes on and there's the disc again. And you're kind of like, well, you know, what the heck just happened? So I think I love watching wood golf. I think whoever, you know, is filming Maple Hill and a lot of courses like that do play a majority in the woods, they do an incredible job with it. I wasn't a favorite. Like I didn't really care for the coverage of Texas State in the sense of like, I don't think the course looked that great. It's probably a course I would enjoy playing here and there, but I don't know if it's,
do you think,
you know, something that I would love.
Do you think that the Disc Golf Pro Tour would have chosen this course like as a Pro Tour course? Do you think they would if, let's say, the national tour gets swallowed up as we mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago? Would they say, okay, yep, you're in as a Pro Tour course? Or do you think the Pro Tour is like, yeah, I don't think that's really our style?
I think if the Pro Tour wanted that course as a Pro Tour event, they would have had it this year as a Pro Tour event. I think that's kind of my reasoning towards it. I've heard good things about the course. I've heard a lot of pros say they like it, but at the same time, a lot of pros who say they like it are pros that did well at it, and then a lot of pros who said they didn't like it are pros that didn't do well at it. So it's kind of like you can't really tell how good a course is not.
Eagles quoted as saying, I feel like he goes, I feel like the course, I liked the course well enough. He's like, but there's a handful of holes or trees or something that would have to change to make it more likable by all disc golfers, is how he put it. So there's definitely
who said this?
This was Eagle. So there's definitely and he finished what, 8th. So I mean, like he did okay, but he was still alluding to the fact that there's a significant. But I guess my point here is I'm trying to get your opinion on. You gave me is, would the Disc Golf Pro Tour choose this as a course? The National Tour did. Are they on different levels? Because I feel like the National Tour events, am I way off here? Maybe it's just like a bias from what I'm remembering, but like the Delaware Disc Golf, wait, is it Iron Hill? That was a national tour, right?
That's Delaware, yep.
And that's really,
I think that's
really,
supposed
really
to be the NT finale.
It's really, 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 really wooded as well. I mean, I feel like, am I wrong in saying this, that disc golf started in the woods, like more so? I don't mean started officially the very, very first, like whatever pole hole, but I just mean in general, that's where disc golf thrives. Like when you throw a shot, Nick, as a player, which do you enjoy more? Watching it pure, beautiful hole at Maple Hill through the woods, landing near the basket, or an open field where you're parking it with rope OB? Now, I'm not trying to say that both don't deserve a place, but I personally think I like the woods. Now, to your point, is there too much? I feel like, what course did we just watch? Texas State's. What's the name of it? Pine, what is it?
Dogwood.
Oh, sorry, Dogwood. Yeah, the hardest disc golf course ever. There weren't enough fairway lines for you to be able to tell for sure if it was a great shot, as far as the viewer was concerned. So
exactly. So I'm curious. I'd be curious to actually reach out to a lot of the pros who played that event and just kind of get their take on it. Obviously, I'm going to see Paul in a few days.
Hold on.
So I'll ask him. I'm going to see Hannah in a few days.
I'm cutting you off again.
I'm not sure.
Simon just commented.
I'm assuming they played the same tees, but their pars were different. So I'm curious how the FPO players like the course.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I know you can't hear me well for some reason tonight, and I've been trying to cut you off. I apologize for that. So this is a quote from Simon, who just commented live right now. During last week's rounds, I listened to the commentators talk about, and he writes in quotes, unfortunate, lucky, good or bad break. He says, more than in all other sports ever combined. I love playing in the woods, but it's a fluke fest.
Yeah.
So that is from
now,
Simon
I'm
Lizotte
curious,
himself.
Is that depending on just because of last week's course?
I don't know. Or is he talking about
like
Maple Hill?
Yeah, like I was going to say, Simon, what wooded course is not really a fluke fest or not really lucky? Like, to me, I've heard that for some odd reason, WR Jackson is the luckiest course out there. You have to be lucky to win at WR Jackson. When I've played the course, I've seen the coverage. It's one of my favorite courses to watch and play. And I think that you just need to be a skilled woods player to shoot well there with distance and throwing those hybrid drivers. But at the same time, I'm obviously way more inexperienced compared to a lot of professionals who almost in a sense would have a better opinion on this matter. I mean, everyone can have their own opinion, obviously, but I'd be curious, Simon, if you're still in there, what is a more wooded course that's not as fluky?
All right.
Because this one personally to me did look fluky, and that's why I don't think, potentially would not see it maybe on the national tour again next year, or depending on what goes on with the pro tour. I don't think we'd ever see it as a pro tour event.
Hey, I'm not saying I'd have as good of chance as anybody else on that course, but it does start to, and as we saw, the scores compress. So I mean, it is a course where it's like it's hard, and that's not how you should evaluate a course, if it's hard or not. But it's hard to see that scoring separation because it gets compressed by all the, and I'm just going to use the word Simon used here. It's flukes. So it's like, even if you're getting off a good shot, it's going to be compressed. Yeah. I'm thinking in the audio term, we use compressors here. It kind of pulls high down, and it pulls low up high. So, all right, moving on.
I think, well, one last thing really quick. One thing that I don't care to see a lot is, I don't care to see scorecards with no bogeys on it. Like, I like it when people have to struggle to score well at a course. And I think courses that have scoring separation, to me, whether they're wooded or in the open, are way more enjoyable to watch. Like, I love watching USDGC because every single hole can be a train wreck. And then especially hole 17. It's only a 200 somewhat foot hole, but it's one of the hardest holes in disc golf because of all that pressure that comes on into that final hole. So to go to a course where, you know, I don't think Ricky maybe had 2 or 3 bogeys throughout the whole weekend. At Belton, he only had like, did he go bogey free at Belton? Like those are things that are happening in our sport right now. You got these courses where players are just demolishing them. And obviously par can be changed here and there, I guess. But just because you change the par, it doesn't, you know,
so
technically make the course harder in a sense.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. We've talked about that a lot. Someone actually said in the chat here that they're local. They live local in Tyler. Dogwood, they said, has 1 tee, 2 sets of baskets on each hole. MPO and FPO played a mix of both, but FPO played more of them, as in probably the shorter locations.
Gotcha. Cool.
So
I'd love to see like a course map on their course, and I can watch the post round production. I watched from hole 1 to hole 18, the final round, because obviously I knew it was going to be a battle. I was rooting for Haley the whole time, and so I did get to enjoy watching it, but I don't know the difference of the men's tee the men's basket versus the female basket on that set.
Exactly. It was hard to tell. You could tell that they played alternate, but it's hard to tell. But so you watched live. Did you happen to catch any audio from the Disc Golf Network? Did you hear anything from commentators or players?
I actually
look
at your course notes. Excuse me,
my show notes.
Your show notes, and it made me laugh because I obviously know what's coming up about this.
Well, hold on.
Someone tagged me in a post. And then I saw the funniest thing on Instagram, and it was a funny meme back in the day of these people lighting off fireworks and yelling, "Oh no, Terry, put it in reverse, Terry!" and like just a wicked funny video. So someone had posted that after Terry's little slip up of words, and it was a funny thing. But I did like hearing the audio of the players. Like I like to feel like I'm at the event in the comfort of the living room that I'm at that moment. Like it is cool to see or hear the players of like, you know, what do they say after a shot? Like Paul was mic'd up the first round with Jomez, and I actually love that idea. I think it's really cool to kind of hear his thoughts like, oh crap, like why does the disc keep slipping out of my hand? Why are you early releasing this? What kind of putt was that? Or like, you know, dang, that was sick or something like that. So I really like the audio, and you know, if some profanity drops out here and there, I mean, I'm 26 years old. I'm not really like gonna go cry because I heard a bad word, but I think it's funny.
Yeah. So on that topic, though, someone like my 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 11-year-old are listening, and the opposite direction, obviously, is a 26-year-old living away from home. I'm not scared of them hearing words. Or their frustration. I just think it's interesting because there's not very many pro sports. Now, granted, this is on broadcast television. I get that. And probably, I know there's a pretty large following for like Fight Night and MMA out there. And I'm pretty sure they're not editing out the pay-per-view for that either. So like, I just thought it was interesting because I heard more of it this weekend as far as the profanity is concerned than I ever have. And obviously, we're kind of joking about Terry's slip of the tongue saying that, and I got to word this correctly because I don't want to make the same mistake myself. The tree sucking the disc, okay? And that's and you can imagine how he made that slip. It incredibly.
I've heard it 1,000 times. People accidentally.
And do you laugh every time?
I don't know. It all depends on who says it.
Pitching their tents. You know, have you ever seen that YouTube video? There's a lot of funny videos out there. People and like just overwhelmed by. But here's the thing. Terry Miller. Holy cow! How in the world? Was it that moment where he's like, "Oh man, this is gonna make or break my career here. Like I need to just move on and just like be professional," because it was amazing. Like that is incredible to do that, and then and to keep talking while your brain is like rewinding about what you just said out loud on live. Incredible to him. I wish I could see though. I wish I could have seen Mo, Johnny V. If Jeff Spring was happening to watch live, all their faces at the same time when he did that. Oh, actually, Nate Sexton, Nate Doss,
Sexton and
Valerie Doss. Like, I mean,
it would have been funny to see.
That would have been epic. So good for them. Good for them. I think they handled it well. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit curious, Nick. I was a little bit curious if the Pro Tour, and it may still happen, was to issue some form of apology. It happens in every other sport. It's not saying, oh, we're horrible people. It's kind of like, hey, like, I don't know, we made a mistake. We'll try to do better.
I think, to be honest, I haven't seen much like hate against what happened. Obviously, it was an accident. I think if people were to make a massive stink about it, yeah, maybe come out with a statement really quick and say like, oh, hey, I'm sorry, I slipped up my words. Obviously, he wasn't meaning to say what he said.
Of course.
But at the same time, like, it made me laugh.
Is this where that phrase
making me laugh at the same time?
Yeah. Is this where that phrase, all publicity is good publicity? Is it one of those? Like, yeah,
exactly. Like
Terry, I don't know if you listen this far into our show. Yeah, I don't know if Terry listens this far or if he listens to our show at all. But Terry, if you do, we love you. We think it was incredible as far as the professionality you had, even through the slip up. Keep up the good work out there. Totally enjoyed it. Nick, let's get ready to wrap it up here. What's coming up? Silver Series, which I'm not going to lie, I was a little surprised with because I wasn't expecting it. April 8th. So we're just about a week out from that. It's called Vintage Open. It's in Arkansas at a course called Old Post. Now, it's the Old Post Gold layout. It's an 8,000 foot par 60. There will be disc golf now. Shout out to... this is free advertisement. Sorry, we got a local guy up here that has Disc Golf Now. And he's like a disc golf humor guy. If you look him up on Facebook, Disc Golf Now. But anyways, Disc Golf Network is going to live broadcast the final round of the Silver Series. So I didn't look who's registered. Do you know who's going to be playing in Arkansas? Anybody? I should pull that up. I should pull that up.
Yeah. Yeah, pull that up really quick because I don't personally. I'm assuming a lot of people are. Obviously, Arkansas and Texas are right next to each other. I don't know how far the drive is from where they are just finishing up in Texas, but I'm assuming a lot of players are going out to this event. It is a Silver Series event. It is a chance to get on coverage for the final day. I'm sure there's going to be post-produced teams going to that event as well. I do know, Macbeth, I know Sexton are not going to be at that event.
Here you go. You have, I'm just going to read off the notables, and I apologize for leaving anybody out of here. Yeah. Nico Locastro, Garrett Gurthie, Greg Barsby, James Conrad, Chandler Fry, you made the notables for me. Colton Montgomery, Ricky Wysocki, Zach Melton, Kevin Jones, Calvin Heimberg, Emerson Keith. This is a notable list.
Pretty stacked field. How about for the FPO side?
Chris Clemens, and I'm going down here. Yeah. Let's see. Austin Hannum, Casey White. I'm going to scroll down a little farther. Kona, Lisa Fakis, Rebecca Cox. This should be good.
Yep.
I would love to see Rebecca Cox and Kona go head to head there, which they're gonna. Lisa Fakis, Sarah Hokum, Katrina Allen, Jessica Weiss, Ellen Widboom, and the Mandujano sisters. Okay. A Cat Merch and some others.
Hamas is going. I don't know if you said Hamas, but that's great opportunity. He'll be the 4th highest rated player at that event. So this is a pretty big event, and there's not Eagle's not there.
If Ricky takes it down,
Paul's not there.
If Ricky takes it down, that's a 3 in a row. That's the hat trick.
Exactly. Ezra is going to be there, so curious to see how Ezra does. Alden Harris, making a good name for himself, had a pretty good showing last week at the National Tour. Is Brody going to this one?
I didn't see
Brody
him
Smith
there.
will be there, so there's another opportunity. Zach Arlingus, we haven't really talked to him too much. I don't think he's been touring around too much, but I think we're getting more into his neck of the woods. So
Arkansas.
He's a young gun.
I'm pretty sure. Or Kentucky.
Player. Yeah, I think Kentucky. I think. But
and then after this Vintage Open, just getting ready, guys. The next Disc Golf Pro Tour, the Elite Series, does not start until the 16th, April 16th through 18th. Jonesboro again. Is this sponsored by Prodigy or is this by who's the usual sponsor? Play It Again. Okay.
Play It Again used to be the sponsor of it. I can look at that.
I forget it's changed once or twice, but
yeah, exactly.
That's okay. We don't owe them an announcement for that.
It is. Yeah, it's Play It Again Sports Jonesboro Open, powered by Prodigy. So I guess and it's a DGPT. So that one's gonna have all the big names at it as well. Right. So incredible disc golf. Shoot, if you're not a Disc Golf Network subscriber, go subscribe to it because we're at an incredible point of disc golf right now to where week in and week out we are getting coverage. Check out for those post-round production coverages, companies, disc golf's in the world right now, and it's booming and it's growing. So
yeah, we made it to the end, Nick, and this is our second week in a row making a 2-hour show. Some people like it, some people don't. I do want to tease out just a little bit because I saw earlier in the chat here, Nick and Matt, if you don't have Judge That Disc Golfer tonight, like I'm giving you one more chance or something. Like, so here, I'm just going to give them a tease.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them a tease. Those segments that you have come to love over the whole last year, we're figuring out the best way to bring them back. We've got an idea. We're going to work on it. We think you'll be happy with it. It is more work for me, everybody. It is work for me. But if you love it, we're going to try to bring it back in some form or another. So please stick with us on that. We know you enjoy it. Nick, what else do we have to close out with? Anything? You got anything for us?
I would just say, once again, thank you for the foundation crew and everything that they've been helping us out with. I'm throughout the show, my camera quality got better. So hopefully throughout the whole night, it was great for, everyone watching live right now. But on a serious note, everybody, check us out on YouTube, the Foundation Podcast Network. Turn on the post notifications, like it, subscribe it, all that jazz. It helps us out. Be on the lookout for clips from last week's episode. We had Ricky Casey, and who else did we have on last week? I'm drawing a blank, Matt.
Me too.
Ricky
Wysocki. Casey White.
Yeah. Who was our FPO player? I'm drawing a blank now. Anywho, sorry to whoever it was. I'm just totally drawing a blank. But please go like, subscribe, turn on the post notifications, be on the lookout for everything happening with us. I also, for anyone who is on Twitter, I created a Twitter for the Nick and Matt show. Check it out. I think it's at Nick and Matt 1. I want to look for, see if I can get the @ tag of the Nick and Matt show, except I have no idea how that works. So check that out. Anyways,
it was Heather Young. It was Heather Young. It was Heather Young.
That's who it was. That's right.
All right.
Sorry, Heather. But anyways, tell someone you love them this week, people, and we will catch you in the next one.
Nick, you're awesome.
Take it easy.
The Nick and Matt Show, a disc golf podcast designed for you, the disc golfer. Find the Nick and Matt Show on your favorite podcast platforms or stream us live exclusively on the Foundation Podcast's YouTube channel.